May God's peace be upon you. We are with you with a new video. Let's watch it.
In Islam, faith is not blind, it is based on knowledge and evidence. When Muslims are asked, "Why do you believe in Islam?" most explain their belief with rational arguments. The greatest evidence is the Quran itself. However, this might not seem convincing to an outsider because there is so much evidence that it can be hard to know where to begin. For example, even the human foot is a miracle in itself. Allah draws attention to such miracles in the Quran. The preservation of the Quran is also a significant proof. Allah promises in the Quran that He will protect it. If you think about it, making such a claim 1,400 years ago required great confidence. But today, we see that the Quran has been preserved without any alterations, and no matter where you go in the world, the Quran remains the same. When two Muslims come together, there is never a difference in the verses they recite. Additionally, Allah states that He has made the Quran easy to learn. Today, millions of people have memorized the entire Quran by heart. This is something that cannot be said for any other book in the world. Many Muslims do not even speak Arabic, yet they can memorize the Quran. Imagine trying to memorize even half a page in a language you don't know, like Chinese. It's incredibly difficult. Yet, the Quran, consisting of 600 pages, is memorized word for word. So why is the Quran in Arabic? Allah answers this in the Quran as well. Arabic is one of the clearest and most profound languages. A single Arabic word can often only be explained with a long sentence in another language. Therefore, it is impossible to fully translate the Quran into another language. Reading the Quran in its original language allows one to feel the depth of its meanings. In fact, there are thousands of videos on YouTube showing people who don't even understand Arabic getting emotional while listening to the Quran. People are moved to tears without understanding the words. Allah foretold this reaction to the Quran 1,400 years ago.
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها.
The Quran encourages people to think. Allah asks, do they not reflect upon the Quran? If the Quran had been written by a human, it would contain many errors and contradictions. However, despite 14 centuries of scrutiny, no errors or contradictions have ever been found in the Quran. Moreover, the Quran contains scientific evidence. For example, the idea that the universe was created from a single point, the Big Bang theory, is mentioned in the Quran. The fact that the universe is continuously expanding is also stated in the Quran, but this scientific fact was only discovered in the last 50 years. The famous physicist Stephen Hawking said that the knowledge of the universe's expansion was one of the greatest intellectual revolutions of the 20th century. Yet, this information was already in the Quran 14 centuries ago. The Quran also mentions other scientific miracles, such as mountains stabilizing the earth like pegs and the existence of a barrier between salt water and fresh water that prevents them from mixing. These facts have been confirmed by modern science. The development of the human embryo is also described in detail in the Quran, and as renowned embryologist Professor Keith Moore admitted, such detailed knowledge would have been impossible to know 1,400 years ago.
Human embryo is of such a minute size that detailed studies would have been impossible without the microscope. The descriptions of human embryos in the Quran cannot be based on scientific knowledge in the 7th century. The only reasonable conclusion is that these descriptions were revealed to Muhammad, peace be upon him, by God.
The Quran's historical accounts are also miraculous. For example, it states that Pharaoh's body would be preserved. This information is not found in the Bible, and modern archaeology has confirmed that Pharaoh's body is still preserved today. Additionally, the Quran mentions that the battle between the Persians and the Romans took place in the lowest land on earth, near the Dead Sea. Modern scientific research has confirmed this detail. The Dead Sea is 417 meters below sea level, making it the Earth's lowest land point. The Quran is also a linguistic miracle. Its structure is based on rings or ring compositions, which show that the text is organized in a mathematically and literary perfect way. For instance, The word day appears exactly 365 times in the Quran, and the word month appears 12 times. Words like life and death, angels and devils, and good deeds and bad deeds are also used an equal number of times. The Quran was revealed over 23 years, memorized by the Prophet's companions, and has reached us unchanged. The verses were revealed in accordance with events in the Prophet's life, and this process unfolded naturally. All these features show that the Quran could not have been written by a human. In conclusion, the Quran is a miracle in historical, scientific, linguistic, and moral terms. For 1,400 years, no errors or contradictions have been found, and it has been preserved as Allah promised. The Quran brings peace and meaning to people's lives. Allah challenges those who doubt the Quran. If you are in doubt about this book, then produce a chapter like it. 14 centuries have passed, but no individual or group has ever been able to produce a text that matches the literary, scientific, and moral perfection of the Quran. This is one of the greatest proofs that the Quran is the word of Allah.